Bernstein again. Big opening. Pass 5. Pass 10. Perko's a man. And he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards out the carry.
Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by betonline.ag and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. I'm Matt Perkins, joined as always by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today?
Dude, every day with you, as I always say, is a holiday. But man, a tough weekend. I mean, at least the Jets had a bye. My fantasy football team got smoked, so there's that. The Jets had a bye, which is still a loss in my book because we suck so bad. So, and you know, as you know, like the Badgers lost, and it's kind of heart wrenching. It is.
It was a tough one to watch, Bernie. It really was. Not as bad as the Iowa game, but probably the second worst as far as I'm concerned this year. We'll get into it here in a couple minutes on Monday Morning Fullback, like we always do, breaking down the game with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Plus, we will be joined later by a special guest. We will let y'all see who that is when they hop on here in a little bit. But before we get into it, want to remind everyone who is tuning in that we continue to be presented by betonline.ag, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL, and much more, head on over to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. And, of course, we continue to be proudly presented by our main man, Chris Anicetti, and his team over at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. If you are a pro, future pro, or current NCAA athlete with NIL deals, Chris Anicetti is the man that you need to connect with to get your money right. Over at Oak Bridge, Chris and his team of professionals will help create a comprehensive financial plan to set you up to navigate your lifestyle in future market conditions. Oak Bridge specializes in wealth management for professional athletes. They understand all of the pressures that athletes face. Chris and his team will set you up with a bespoke plan to make your money work for you off the field so you can do what you do best, perform on the field. Get in touch with Chris on Instagram at oakbridgewm_Anicetti. That's oakbridgewm_ANICETE, or head on over to their website, oakbridgewealthmgmt.com. That's Chris Anicetti and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. Make sure to get your money right. Bernie, we got to talk about this game. I don't really want to. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't really make me happy to go back to Saturday afternoon all that much. But here we are nonetheless. The Badgers lost 44-25 at Nebraska in a game that was, you know, pretty tough to watch in a lot of facets, Bernie. But you and I are positive guys by nature. So I do want to start with the good. And that, again, I mean, how many times do I have to say it on this show? Vinny Anthony. Vinny Anthony stepped up. No Will Pauling. Vinny showed that he should be wide receiver one if he's not already. He was a stud all game, Bernie. Obviously had the big touchdown, but even right at the beginning of the game was catching big passes in big spots. And he continues to really, really impress me as a player.
I completely agree. He had 8 catches. I think Bryson Green looked great. I think he had a penalty at the end of the game, though. That was kind of like, it's one of those mental errors that you're like, darn it, if you just didn't have it, you would have had like pretty much a perfect game in my eyes. I like the shots we took down the field finally. You know, the run game wasn't working for us, so we passed. I mean, Braden Locke went 20 for 30. You know, it's just so bizarre. Like, we almost did everything exactly like Nebraska did, a little bit behind. I mean, if you think they went, 28 for 38, we almost had the same amount of yards. I think it was a 60-yard difference in rushing. But outside of that and the turnovers, you know, they played a clean game against us. They look like they had just more guys who are experienced in this time. But time to get back to this. I think Vinny Anthony is a gem, and we should be throwing to him. I like Bryson Green playing. We were looking for other guys. I mean, I loved our opening sequence. You know, first off, they scored right off the bat.
Yep.
And then we scored, and we were doing things that I thought the air raid actually would have been. Quick slants to people right off the run. I mean, Nebraska wasn't ready for that.
No.
And then things went downhill. We didn't take care of business when we got into the red zone. We had some, mental errors, misplays, just stupid things. Like we're just not a team yet ready to win these type of games.
We shoot ourselves in the foot a lot.
A lot.
And I guess we might as well get into the bad, Bernie, before we get into the ugly, because per PFF, we had Max Chadwick on last week talking a little bit of PFF, and obviously, by the way, we love all the comments in all the love and some of the hate that we're getting here in the comments on these on the videos. We know PFF is not infallible, but it is a tool to use as we try to understand the game of football. It is one in the many. It is one of the many tools in our, not just a toolbox, Bernie, but a tool chest. Let's go full tool chest here of things that we use to understand football. Per PFF, the Badgers had 18 missed tackles.
Oh, I didn't get into the missed tackles. That's how we lost. I mean, we couldn't tackle anybody.
It's no 18 missed tackles. You're really missing Hunter Wohler out there. I get it, but it is an 11-man defense, not a one-man defense. Hunter is great. Hunter's the best player on that defense, and he definitely covers up for a lot of other deficiencies, but that doesn't change the fact that other guys are missing tackles left and right. And, I thought the linebacker play was pretty poor outside of Christian Allegro, who continues to show that he could be a future star on this team. He's a really versatile piece, and I love the way he's playing, but Bernie, I don't want to go back to the same conversation we've been having for a year and a half on run fits and stuff like that, but it got markedly worse from Oregon to Nebraska.
Even if you take off 8 of those and you want to say 10 is still a bad number to have. I mean, it's the difference of 44 points to 25 points. It's a huge, listen, people are going to miss tackles in a football game, but 18 is a lot of missed tackles. Christian Alego is my good on the defense. I mean, he hustles, he works hard, he's everywhere on the field. Even if he messes up, he's still working. You can visibly see his tenacity and his work ethic, right? Like he's everywhere and he's trying to be, which I appreciate. We had guys over pursuing. So I was
gonna say one other. I will say one good coming out of the defense. Ricardo Hallman finally played every snap. Thank you, Coach Haynes, for not rotating him out. You need him in there all the time. Did he have his best game? No, but he was still effective. He got beat once or twice, but just having Ricardo Hallman in there at all times is so important to me.
I would say having Hunter Wohler out, we had our 2 best guys, our 2 leaders out. It's hard to win. If you told me Hunter Wohler and Will Pauling were going to be out, which they were, it would have been hard to take the Badgers. And that's hard for me to say because I am the biggest Badger optimist ever. But without your 2 leaders, that's difficult to do. I mean, you have who's next? Tyree Walker's a transfer.
You're missing Leon Lowry, your big transfer portal addition there in the middle of the defense, and the guy who's got the green dot in his calling plays. Yes, Allegro stepped up and played well. He still wasn't perfect. So
and so my bad is also. I mean, this can kind of filter into the ugly, but we kicked the field goal. It was good. We had an offsides. It's killer. Then we missed the field goal. Those things are momentum shifts. They hurt. You can feel it even watching in New York. I could feel like the air coming out of our so-called balloon. Like it was brutal. Missed field goal, and then you miss another one.
Well, let's talk about Bernie. I want to talk about that sequence in my bad as well because it's 7-7. Both teams have come out, scored touchdowns on their first drives, have been stopped pretty quickly on their second drives. Nebraska comes out on their third drive, cause a fumble. Ben Barton gets it. Awesome play. You've got great momentum right there. That's the time that you need to be able to strike and capitalize on points off of turnovers, right? 3 is okay, but considering that, they got the ball at the 17, you got the ball, and this again, it has been one of the many bugaboos for the Badgers is red zone offense. They just don't convert in the red zone. It's especially for touchdowns. And my God, Bern, it was that point in the game, they're not going to win. After those first couple sequences, I was like, yeah, okay, they're in it. They're getting going. They had a 3-and-out, caused a turnover. Okay, defense is starting to get locked in. And then it's just like you said, not just like the air's not just coming out, it got popped for me right there. And that was just, you could feel it in New York. You could feel it in Tennessee. You could feel it in China. Like just everything. You look on the sideline, even from like the TV shots, and it's like, ah.
The Badgers just aren't. They just can't make mistakes at this point in the programs, wherever we are in the program. Yeah. We cannot make those mistakes. And that is a mistake. Jumping off sides, we had to delay a game at a pivotal point. Like, there's just things that we do that really say we're not ready. We're just not there. Is that coaching? Is that the skill set or the talent we have? I think it's a bit of both. But to jump off sides and to move the ball back 5 yards, it's still a chip shot. But it's not easy to do. Like, I've never done it. I have no idea. I'm not a kicker. But again, Vaco should have made it.
We've seen Vacos comfortably make 50-yarders. Like,
right.
And so that Burn, let's just bleed in straight to the ugly then, because the ugly, like, for like the 16th time in 23 games of the Fickell era or whatever it is, guess what? The ugly is the special teams. It's two missed field goals and a kickoff out of bounds. Like, I'm such a broken record about this. How does this keep happening? You have one job: kick the ball deep through the end zone. You're going to do it 6 to 8 times a game,
and you're giving an opponent who's moving the ball. I mean, they had 478 yards.
You're giving the ball they don't even have to go as far, and that's why they scored 44 freaking points. Because when you're getting the ball to 40 instead of the 25, 15 more yards. That's 4 more plays.
15 more yards is big.
Opportunity to force a turnover, force a third down. It's infuriating.
Yeah, because they weren't that good on third down and fourth down. 4 for 9 and 0 for 1. So, like,
I mean, 4 for 9 is okay, but they only had 9 third downs. That's the problem.
Because they were getting a lot of. They
were getting them all in first and second.
29 first downs.
They're playing 15. They're playing Canadian football out there, getting the first down every 2 downs.
You know what? They looked really poised. I hate to give it up, but they looked very poised the whole entire game. No matter really ups and downs. I don't want them to win, but they had a good game plan and they looked poised. And listen, I've never seen Fickell crack. He looked frustrated, but he doesn't crack.
He cracks in the press conferences, Burn. He has been testy. He has been really testy.
Well, I think if listen, dude, if you look at what everyone says online, there is like no one, and this is just me reading Facebook and other places. There's not a lot of support right now for the program.
Okay, Boomer.
I mean, I know what a loser I am, but it's interesting to read how many people are not behind the coaching staff. It's intriguing. It's year 2. We just got a quarterback, top 100 quarterback. I mean, it's like we can't throw the towel in yet. But it's hard to watch games. To lose this streak, you are going to see people very, very, very upset about it. And rightfully so. I'm going to be upset about it. You know, the one thing that this team can do to help the Fickell and the coaches and the program is win the Axe this weekend. I mean, that would be basically the only thing. I don't care if we win or lose the bowl game. We're going to a bowl game. That's important. I think next year could be a different year, depending. But I liked. Listen, we had 4 guys catch 20+ yard passes. Like, there's some not so bad things.
No, I mean the offense was
400 yards in offense. Not so bad, but we had 15 first downs. Not so good either.
Not so.
We got to mix. We got to mix and match. And across the board, it's like 2 guys make a mistake every play, and it really hurts the.
And the Badgers, they had 7 penalties for 56 yards, which isn't obviously it's good, but it's not like terrible. But it always feels like when they have a penalty, it's at the worst.
It's at the worst time.
Like they have it's always there was a third down conversion. Sorry, there's a holding. Oh, we kicked the field goal. Good. Nope. Sorry, there's offside.
Kick the ball out of bounds. Boom.
Just.
It's mind-blowing stuff. It's it's tough to think about what Minnesota looks like because these are teams with right now more, I don't say history, but more culture defined than we have.
I mean, if you can call what PJ Fleck does is a culture. It's also take off the URE at the end of it because it's a cult.
It's brutal, but those guys are going to come ready to play. This, no matter if you're
That's true.
0-10
I mean, they
in this
showed up
game.
against Penn State this past weekend. They probably should have beaten Penn State this past weekend.
Exactly. So it's going to be a fist fight next week.
But it's always a fist fight.
It's always a fist fight. But we're not, like I said last week and weeks before, like we don't have the dudes when someone's down, like Pauling, right? Like we don't have a guy that says like, give me the ball.
You do. It's Vinny Anthony.
I know, but I don't visibly see these guys like getting excited, getting fired up. Like I just don't see that. Not saying like, but look, go back to Brandon Williams. You ever watch him play? Like you knew he was in the game and you knew he was talking smack, not saying that's a good thing or bad, but when he caught a ball, he was celebrating. Like you could just visibly see him enjoying playing football and going hard.
I do agree with you there on that idea of like, you don't see joy on the field that often. You don't see that exuberance that you're talking about with B-Dub, right? Like they get a first down, they get a touchdown. Yeah, you get like normal celebration, but it doesn't feel like they are like in it.
I can name 10 guys right off the bat who Dante Sanders. This dude played will linebacker at maybe 200 pounds. Like he had no right to be on the field in a physical game, but yet he was fast. He wanted it more than anybody, and he chip on his shoulder, and he played as hard as he possibly could, and you could see it. He would tell you, like, he's not the guy who's going to run up into
I think Alex Lewis falls in that category too.
Alex Lewis, Antosh, basically that whole entire defense. Sparky, there wasn't. Look, when I got there, Mike Eccles, we're 5-3. That dude's telling you that he's the best guy on the field still. Like he doesn't care. So like those are the guys, right? Like Anthony Davis wasn't that type of dude, but I was getting fired up, like pushing people, headbutting people. It's just that excitement about playing football, and it doesn't seem like it's there right now, and I don't know why that is.
How do they recapture that?
I don't know. Winning, but then it's hard to do because I just don't know. I think it's a number of things. One, you got to stop making mistakes. Mental errors and shooting yourself in the foot deflates anybody. But I think you need people who, I don't know in this day and age, Matt Perkins, this is what I keep asking is when you are, let's say you've been there 4 or 5 years, you might be one of like a couple dudes in your class who are actually started. So you could literally be the leader of 10 other guys who have not been there. Like I don't, this is such a difficult time. Plus with social media, plus with reading all these things about everything. I don't know. Plus with NIL, plus with transfer portal, like the whole world has shifted. How do you bring joy to play football? I don't know. It was easy for me. Saturdays were joyful. Even if we lost, I loved playing the game. And you would know that I loved playing the game. If I made a block, I celebrated.
What's the old Ray Lewis line? You pay me from Monday through Saturday. You get Sundays for free.
Yeah, exactly.
For me. Yeah. And it feels like it feels like the Badgers are just kind of being paid for Saturday right now. It can be tough to watch. Yes, I know there's frustration. We're not questioning that the guys, like, we're not saying the guys don't want to be there. We're not saying the guys.
No, I think they want to be there. And I think they want to be there.
Yeah. But it's really hard mentally to get to that place when it feels like every single time you get a little bit of momentum shot in the foot. Every time, every time you feel like you might be making some headway, it's one step forward, 2 steps back. And it's really frustrating.
I would say, Matt Perkins, if I took another guess on the offense, it's frustrating to not produce, right? It's hard to get excited about 3 and outs every single time.
It's hard to get excited about red zone field goal attempts.
It's right. All those things. It's like you're getting there. You're getting excited. Boom, something happens and it's negative. So I just want things to be positive or just kind of look like be in the game. Get some first downs. Get some third down. Even if you don't score or don't win, bring back that joy of football. Like you go back 20 years, you can see people like keyed up and ready to go, but also loving playing Badger. I mean, the defense by itself celebrated. It had its own celebrations. I mean, they all were excited for each other's success. That's something a little bit different too. But I like the big plays. To bring it back to this game, we had some big plays.
Braden
Luck did okay in my eyes. I mean, he did okay.
Threw another interception.
He does not read the read at all. Like, he doesn't want to run the ball. That's 100%. So on one of those third downs or fourth downs, it was just a give. He didn't pull it. There's nobody else there. Maybe that's a call that it's just a straight give. I don't know. But nobody respects him as a runner. And he takes some big shots. So, like, why don't you run the football and protect yourself instead of just standing in there? So, I don't know. But he did have some really nice throws. But again, even he doesn't seem super joyful in the game. And he can be. Like, I know, like, everyone's on top of him, but my advice is just go out and have fun. Like, everyone's already on top of you. Just go have fun and just enjoy it.
But Bernie, again, the offensive line allowed 0 sacks. Like, there were 0 sacks and 3 tackles for a loss in the whole game. Like, offensive line played well again. Like, the offensive line. And so, like, it's like we've been talking about. I know I'm just like a broken record and I keep saying the same things and it's just exhausting probably to hear, but just I miss the joy.
It's hard to give Nebraska.
Maybe that's the episode title today. Monday Morning Fullback, we miss the joy.
We miss the joy. Yeah, okay, you keep giving Nebraska shots. That's what we've done with every opponent is we keep giving them. We're not taking from them. We're giving things to them. We're giving them the football back. We're making penalties. 2 missed field goals and a kick out of bounds. Like, that has to be one of the most frustrating parts. Even the loss is less frustrating than that. It's just such poor play. And I think you're going to see Fickell's head explode. I mean, he's the special teams coordinator, isn't he?
I thought it was Mitchell, but it might be Fick.
I mean, you know what I didn't see is, and I don't want this, but I did see it from back in the day when you did something wrong and you walked off the field. There was 2 or 3 coaches there to tell you that you did something wrong, that you suck, and that if you don't want to play in this game, you can go sit on the bench. There's other guys who want to play. Like, I'm not saying that's motivating. Back then, I think it was pretty motivating because.
It was also standard operating procedure in 2001.
You're 100% right. Now, I'm not saying the dudes are soft. That mentality of like getting through that or just not caring is extremely difficult. I figured that out real quick. Like, I was like, man, I don't really care about these dudes because 2 of them are on defensive side. So, like, F off. And some of the other guys, I'm like, dude, you're the quarterback's coach. Why don't you have them throw me the football instead? Like, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I don't want people to talk back. But in the game, don't mess with me. I was ready to go. And if I missed a block, you know how pissed I was at myself.
But that's the culture you need to establish in order to win, right? You need to have guys with your attitude that the most mad person about I messed up is me. Every single time. And
someone has to hold you accountable.
And someone has to hold you accountable to it as well. Because
I do think they're doing that. But as game in and game out, mistakes haven't changed. And it's been the same consistent from last year to this year. So that, to me, you got to figure that out.
Bern, is there anything else you want to talk about for the Nebraska game?
No, I just want to put it behind us and focus on getting to a bowl game.
Yeah,
I mean, that's it.
Let's focus on that. Bernie, they've called you in to be the special offensive assistant for the week of the Axe game.
Oh,
what are you trying to do in order to win? What is your focus this week?
I'm sticking to my game plan. And what I saw the first series that the Badgers did was
what
awesome.
They had scripted.
Exactly. It was awesome. Short plays. They gave us opportunities. I like the spreading out with Vinny Anthony with 8 catches. Bryson was 7. I think from there it went 4-4-4, 2-2. You could tell me better, but
yeah, it was 7 for Vinny, 4 for Bryson, 3 for Tretch, 2 for Dupree.
Okay,
catches.
So I would listen. I like Dupree also.
Oh, Dupree was outstanding.
He looked good, man. I'm not saying Tyree didn't look. He looked okay, but
I think because of that, you need to lean into the run game more. I'm sorry, I'm taking over this question. I asked it to you, but I'm just going to answer it anyway.
Sure.
Bernie, if they're calling me now, that means they're really desperate. That being said, I did have a dynasty on NCAA 2008 with the Naval Academy that won 14 straight national titles on All-American mode. So, I do know what I'm doing. I'm running the pistol, but that might take a little bit too long to install. For this game, though, what I'm doing, I'm leaning into the run game again with the offensive line, and I'm trying to really get that going early to get play action going, because I think once you can get that play action, that opens up those deep balls to Vinny. And that's what I want to do. I want to go old school Wisconsin, baby. Like, run the ball, play action, deep pass. Like, that's what I want to see. What's that?
Can do pre-throw. Who's the backup quarterback at Nebraska? Did a great job running the football.
Heinrich. Heinenberg or whatever.
It's a weapon we don't have, and maybe I don't know if.
Well, you know what? I mean, he's going to redshirt, but maybe Matoyer would be that guy. He's big and tall and strong and likes to run.
I've read a lot of things, and I have no idea if any of these things are correct. But someone said that he's gonna transfer, so he doesn't want to play. I don't know if that's true. That seems.
I've heard the same thing.
But I mean, people are like, why don't you throw him in? Maybe that's true. I don't know that it's true.
Honestly, though, the backup quarterback probably is Yakimelli. He was a high school quarterback.
So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to be like, first off, Yakimelli played 3 plays on kickoff return.
I still don't understand why. Yak was dangerous with the ball in his hand. I don't know.
He's
if
a guy who brings that energy too.
Yeah, man.
So I'm taking the question back. What am I doing? I'm seeing if we can run a play that either Yakimelli can do it with some rollouts, easy dumps to tight ends, and doing the
tight ends
read zone.
Are still playing so poorly.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying short, little, teeny routes. Exactly what Nebraska did to us. I'm going to take their script and do it to them. I'm going to do it to Minnesota. I'm going to see if we can do some wildcat, although I hate it, with someone who can throw the ball, not deep, but throw the football, and who can run, right? We don't have that ability. And look, every time that guy went in the game, they had positive yards, and you knew what they were doing. So I'm doing a little bit of that. I am putting Yakimelli in a little bit because I want some guy with energy to be in there. I'm running a jet sweeper too. But I'm still running the football. Tyree and Dupree are going to be my guys. But I'm going to throw a slip screen to Dupree. I want to get him in some space. I love the deep balls down the field, but it all starts with taking advantage of what the defense has given us. And those short routes, those slants, they were there all day, and we stopped doing it. We scored on the first series, and then we stopped doing what got us to score. It's very difficult, right? Like, that stinks. We did a lot more 12 personnel, which I kind of liked. But again, Riley Nowakowski, who I love, he's not big enough to be that guy yet.
He's too short.
I know, but he's lining up. Listen, he's the only guy who can put his fingers in the dirt.
Yeah.
And he's out he's 6'1", 240.
260. Like,
is he 260?
I mean, he's big. I can bring it up. Like, but
listen, and I'd also do a lot of rolling out underneath throws. I haven't seen one play where a tight end runs behind the line of scrimmage, behind the lineman, get him out for a 2-yard catch. Like, I don't care. Hit the flats, hit backs. I'm doing things that make Braden Locke more comfortable. That's what I would probably do.
Well, we're about to get a lot more comfortable here because we now are joined by our good friend, Travis Beckum.
Whoa!
Look who's here in the house, Travis. Welcome back. Good to see you.
I appreciate it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, man, you get more beautiful every day.
Hey, love to hear it, baby. Love to hear it. Keep it coming.
Dude, Travis, I started cutlets this weekend. Killed me, man. How are you just
Why would you start cutlets?
Because I don't know why. I didn't have any other better guys to do it. For Tommy DeVito of the New York Giants. Travis, when you watch the Giants, are you like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, it's a little frustrating.
You had a hard weekend then.
Yeah. It was tough. Not Indiana, but Nebraska had our number. I'll tell you what, this men's basketball team, I tell you, Hey, we're hot. We're hot. I'll take it.
That's like the best thing to come out of the weekend is the men's basketball team is playing really well.
Absolutely. They are. They are a force to be reckoned with. And it's awesome just kind of looking at the trajectory of Wisconsin sports. Obviously, when you look at the tough loss to volleyball this weekend, football is one thing, but we got something good going with basketball, so I'll take it.
Love that optimism. Well, Travis, thank you again for joining us here as part of Monday Morning Fullback here, post Nebraska. Travis, 35,000 foot view. What's going on right now with the football program? What's missing? What are you seeing that this team needs in order to get back to success?
I think the biggest thing is we haven't really found that player that we can completely depend on. We haven't had a player on the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball to say, hey, it's Saturday morning. I can't wait to wake up to see so-and-so. To be honest with you, this past weekend was probably one of the best performances I did see on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if that's different play calling or whatever it was. But Braden Locke threw some really good balls. But again, I think it really comes down to the fact that we're still trying to find that player that's really going to take over that role to say, hey, I'm willing to put the team on my back, pass me the ball, or on the defensive side of the ball, guys just knowing that, whether it's a pass rusher or someone on the in the secondary, I think we really are waiting for that one player to step up and to put the team on his back.
I think it can be Vinny Anthony personally. I think I said that a little bit earlier, but Travis, one of the things that Bernie and I were talking about before you got on was that the team seems to have is not playing with joy. They don't seem to be happy on the field, right, Bern? Yeah. Bernie, we're talking about this. You can explain it a little bit more.
Yeah, Travis, you remember watching Brandon Williams play?
Yeah.
That dude, you could tell from the TV that he loved it and he was in your face and he was, ready to go. And he was that guy outspoken, getting behind, getting people fired up. It just seems like we don't have, when you watch it doesn't seem like there are those players. Maybe it means there's not one guy that we can rely on right now, but it seems like the leadership, it could be all, I don't see anyone coming to the top, basically is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think last year, Hunter Wohler really stepped into that role. Obviously, with him being out, it's a little bit different. But then you look at Nick Herbig and the impact that he had on the defense, guys that are going to speak up and really, like I said earlier, put the team on their back. So I don't know. I get it. I completely get it as far as looking at the Brandon Williams, the silent leaders like Joe Thomas that just got the work done. But I think they're still soul searching. Obviously, you look at the recruit that we just got on the quarterback on the offensive side of the ball. Yep. So excited to see what he brings to the table. But until then, we got to really have the guys that we have working with in-house and figure out who's really going to take on that role.
But it's hard because people naturally are that person. When B-Well showed up day one, he was that person. So I don't know. There's got to be someone we can recruit dudes who have that mentality as well. But I have a question for you, Travis. The new quarterback, it's amazing. Top 100 guy. It's great. What does that mean for Mabry Matoyer, who's potentially was supposed to be our next guy? Is that now mean we're not putting him in the game? So does that mean we're trying to redshirt him, or does that mean he doesn't want to play?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I actually thought about that the other day because obviously he was highly recruited, but again, I think that the role that you look at now, obviously the transfer portal is completely different, but is it almost something like if you're in the league and you were drafted in the third round and then the next year they draft a quarterback or your position in the first or second round, that's almost like it is in college football right now. I think the way that you look at it is you weren't getting the job done or the role that we brought you in for. So we have to go we have to go elsewhere and find someone that's going to fill that void. But I don't know. Fickell said when we first had Tanner Mordecai, he said, we want to fill up this room with competition. He said, competition is going to be the best thing that we can get. So some people are going to look in the face of adversity and say, hey, I'm up and leaving. Or some people are going to say, hey, I don't care if he's a 4-star, 5-star, whatever it is. I'm going to make him earn his spot.
I think that quarterback competition is just so prevalent, especially at the highest levels of college football, right? You look what Ohio State, does. They have Kyle McCord, who, played pretty darn well last year. Nope, you're not good enough. We're going to bring in Will Howard, right?
Yep.
Oregon is just bringing in a new quarterback every single year. Like all these top programs are doing that, and they have 5 stars on 4, 5 stars on 4 stars, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of just, you got to get used to it if you're going to play really high level, college football.
Well, I would have if I look back at my career and obviously with me coming into Wisconsin as a linebacker, after my sophomore year, which is my first year at tight end, if they would have brought in another highly sought out after tight end, I would have felt I would have been a little upset. Now, keep in mind, I know you guys are going to say, about Garrett and Lance. Garrett, first off, he came in. Garrett was my class, so he came in as a tight end when I was on the line. I was a linebacker, and then Lance, remember, he came in as a wide receiver. So I think just the fact of really solidifying that spot. I think offensive line is a little bit different. We were just producing these huge offensive linemen. But as far as bringing in new guys, like I think the guys, you really have to look at it. Maybe I wasn't getting my job done enough to where they have to go look elsewhere for someone else that can fill that void.
And you got to think also, maybe Murtori might want to leave and go somewhere else. Doesn't mean somewhere else needs him or somewhere that he wants to go or that the competition isn't going to be there when he gets there. So like there is the other side of the fence on the transfer portal.
Yeah, no, I get it. And hopefully it's not to where he does want to leave. Because I think that really does. I think from what we've seen from the high school side, I think he brings a lot to this offense. And again, I loved what I seen. As much as I can say that with a loss, but I loved what I seen from the offense on Saturday. And I think that we just have to be cognizant about what we have, what we can offer, and then what's out there. And so guys just don't feel the need to essentially up and leave.
As good as the offense looked, was about as bad as the defense looked on Saturday, Travis. And it was the same story against Iowa. It seems that they are just up and down on whether they decide they can stop the run or they decide that they can tackle. Bernie and I talked about 18 missed tackles this past game. What do you see going on there, and what do you see as the solution?
Yeah, I don't know, because I think you look at, like you said, I think you look at the Oregon game and say, man, I think our defense finally figured it out. And then it's polar opposite this past Saturday. I don't know. And I think it goes back to the fact that we don't really we're still trying to solidify who's going to be that guy, who's going to be the one to step up and really take on that leadership role. I think a lot of the times early in the season, you look at Ricardo Holman and they're saying that he was a lockdown corner. A lot of people weren't throwing the ball his way. And now this past Saturday they were. So I don't know. I think, I think in life in general, consistency is huge, especially when it comes to golf. But just having a consistent player that we know what we're going to get day in and day out. And I think as of right now, the only consistency, unfortunately, that we have right now is really an interception when we least expect it. So
the motivator, that's what we need. The motivator.
Well, somebody, even if it's hiring, even if it's bringing in guys based off of personalities, like again, I think that's the thing that you have to look at. So, for instance, when I was with the Giants, Brandon Jacobs was a leader by play. He went out, but he was extremely vocal. Eli was a leader. He just went out and played. Eli didn't speak much. He went out. He was the first guy there, last guy to leave. That was his role. But Brandon was one of them guys that would run you over and then remind you that he ran you over. So that's the thing is like when you look at a Tyree Walker and yeah, he's a very powerful back. He's quiet and to each their own. You know what I mean? Like some people lead by example. Some people want to run their mouth. But I think we just need guys that are going to be vocal, that are going to be the ones that step up. And again, I know I said it like 5 times, but really find someone to put the team on their back.
So, Travis, we fired our offensive coordinator. We actually had 400 yards on offense against Nebraska. What do you want to see in the hire of the next offensive coordinator? Like, what do you think is most important for the Badgers?
So I was looking at it this past season, and I don't know if it's a play calling thing. I don't know if it's because when you look at Braden Locke, they talk about his high IQ, but some of the plays, some of these interceptions are really not reading a defense. And that's for someone that has a high football IQ. That's not at the quarterback level. That's not, I mean, those are polar opposites. Is it Longo that he's dummying down the offense to really fit his player? Because you look at someone like a Bo Nix and how less complicated Oregon's offense is now from when they had him. That's because they had that quarterback that can read a defense, a quarterback that can really just come up to the line of scrimmage and call the plays. They depended on him. But as far as the route trees, I think it was super simple. Now, what I seen on Saturday was completely different. I really liked what I seen. As far as Braden, like I'm telling you, like some of those balls that he threw to Bryson Green, those back shows, those are tough balls. And Bryson obviously had to adjust to him, had some really good plays. But
the big play to Chris Brooks was a heck of a throw too.
Even when you look at was it who had the super long touchdown? Was it Vinny Anthony? That's a great ball. That ball when that ball went up in the air, I'm like, here we go again. And obviously Vinny Anthony's fast and ran a great route. But that's what we need. We need more of those guys. And up until that play, I was really worried, like, hey, we don't really have a receiver that can spread the field like that.
Actually, I think what we're missing, Travis, is tight end. Who could?
So yes, I'm very excited about. Well, I mean, you can never count out. The guys, Rob Booker, super long. Really excited about Emmett Bork. Like he's going to be a game changer. I went and seen him play this year, and he's a hand in the dirt kind of guy, but extremely explosive once he gets that ball in his hands. So I'm super pumped about seeing him next year. But again, when you look at some of the drops from the tight ends this past Saturday, it's just some of these are just uncalled for. And we really need to be able to rely on guys that are going to step up in that role because we got to keep the tradition going. This is TEU, baby. Let's go.
Dude, I love that. It is, though. I mean, we've produced Super Bowl champions up, down, left, and right at tight end.
Yeah.
And sadly, I think that wasn't a focal point when Longo came in. It didn't seem like we had the right guys. We moved Rowley Novakowski, who I actually love. I think he does all the fundamentals right. But he's not you. Like he's not an Owen Daniels. Like he's not a Lance. He's not that type of guy. He came playing fullback. So I think that's huge for us. We don't have anyone to dump off the ball 5, 6, 7 yards. Like we just don't have that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys we do have those guys, but they're not playing like the Robs and Jackson from LSU. Like those are guys that should be able to spread the field. Now, when you look at,
but they're not getting reps. Like they're not seeing the field at all. And even with and the tight ends coach is the one who's calling plays now. Like,
yeah, so. I feel like he did. I feel like this past Saturday, there was a few opportunities for tight ends to really capitalize. But when you look at Fickell's last year, he had 2 tight ends that were up for the Mackey Award. Then we come in his first year here, and it's an offense ran by Fickell, and there's no offense incorporated around the tight ends. So I think we need to figure out, obviously, that position out. We need to figure out the quarterback situation. And I think we just need to get creative. But I think this past Saturday really did show a lot of upside for this offense.
Is Braden Locke a senior?
No, he's a redshirt sophomore.
He's a redshirt sophomore. So there's a lot of potential possibilities if we're playing. I mean, Matt Perkins, what do you think? Mattori could leave. Braden Locke could leave. We have a new guy.
Isn't Van Dyke?
Van Dyke has 1 more year. He can come back from injury and play. I think Matoyer is all but gone. At this point, he's very, very close with Longo, and my guess is that he goes wherever Longo goes. The Braden Locke and his younger brother is committed. He's a high school senior towards ACL this year. That'll be interesting to see what happens with both the Locke brothers. I imagine with that, whether it's Wisconsin or somewhere else, they kind of end up together. I know they have a very close family relationship with Longo as well. Carter Smith comes in. Cole LaCrue, the sophomore quarterback, has already hit the portal. He's already said he's going to try his wares elsewhere. And so, you're looking at a potential quarterback room that is, if Van Dyke says he's not coming back, if all those guys transfer, it's Carter Smith, walk on Milos Spinovic, and then whatever you can get out of the portal. And I don't think that you can get I think going portal year after year after year after year, you don't build any sort of consistent culture.
Yeah, you don't. And I 100%, you don't build culture within the team. It's extremely tough. And I feel bad for our season ticket holders. I came in as number 6 linebacker in the country and left as an All-American tight end. So they don't get a chance to watch that journey. They don't get a chance to watch the guys develop. And it is key, like you said, for culture to have these guys present and be here for longer than a year. It's almost like brand awareness. Brand awareness doesn't happen overnight. And we need somebody that's going to be in the locker room, and that's going to be here for several years and can help, whether he's playing or not, someone that just wants to be invested in the program and making us a better team.
I think in this day and age of the NIL, quarterbacks, D linemen, people who are worth more in the transfer portal are always going to jump ship. I don't see it changing until there's a contract or contracts happening. But you look at the Badger quarterback room, man. To me, it's wonky. It could be anything. We could literally have a freshman new quarterback with nobody else, or we could have 5 guys. It could be. But I think competition is the most important. Investing in yourself and competition is so important. When I showed up, Travis, I sucked. You didn't even see me. You would have loved it. I was god awful. I was getting MF'd by every coach, the trainers. Dude, the secretaries in people's offices were telling me how bad I was. But I stuck with them. I knew I was not a bad football player. I just wasn't yet ready to play. I don't think I would have left. I just don't know. But staying for the entire time lets you become who you are, you're going to be born to be. And I think you're a great example. Look at Owen Daniels. He came in as a quarterback. He played one season, got killed at Iowa. We fed him to the dogs, and then he moved over and he won a Super Bowl. He had 3 touchdowns in one of the championships. I think that might be sad to say. Travis, is that lost? That journey?
Yeah, well, absolutely. And it's sad because any kind of adversity, this generation is different. Anytime there's any type of adversity, these guys are going to up and leave. It's just, they're not built. I think the biggest thing is the fact that you're essentially having to recruit your own players that are currently on your team. And again, any type of adversity, we had to sit out a year, and I wasn't willing to sit out a year. It helped that I was from the state, and no matter what, I was going to figure out a way. But when I came in, I was getting mother effed left and right as well, because I was still trying to figure out the defensive side of the ball, linebacker, and then they switched me over midseason to defensive end. And it was going into my sophomore year, it was and I got to figure out, how can I contribute? This isn't the way I planned my journey to end. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to help this team win football games. And so that's the reason why I switched over to tight end, and I found a way. But as far as finding ways now, the guys, it's just a different culture, and these guys are going to up and leave with any adversity they have to face, and it's the unfortunate consequence that we have to deal with nowadays. Schematically,
for whoever the next offensive coordinator is, what would you want to see? Do you want do you want to stick with an air raid? Do you want to move to a power spread? Do you want to go all the way back to, I formation, completely pro style? For me, I'm always one to advocate for the pistol. I love the pistol. I think you can do so much out of the pistol. I would love to see someone that incorporates the pistol into the offense. But Travis, I don't want to put names out there because we don't know. We've thrown out names in our last episode. One name we forgot to mention that we really should have. Thank you for. I can't remember the person's name in the comments. Brennan Marion from UNLV is someone that we should have brought up as well. But schematically, Travis, what are you looking for in the next coordinator?
I want somebody that's going to be creative, take advantage of the athletes that we have. I think that what we did originally with Longo is we had our mindset on an air raid. And we were trying to fit the players to fit that mold. Let's see what we have to work with. I think one of the biggest upsides that we have for next year is Darian Dupree. The man is unbelievable. He's not going to be your straight eye back. He needs to be. I mean, I'm talking about direct snaps, putting him in the slot, letting him go out, letting him use his talent. Obviously, we have the tight end room. We got to figure out how to use those guys. We got to figure out who's going to step up at receiver. We need a slot receiver, whether that's Will Pauling,
Tretch.
But yeah, exactly. Tretch played extremely well. The thing is that what I like about Tretch is the fact that he shines when he gets the opportunity. And that holds weight. Some guys get in there and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to respond. But anytime, any opportunity he has, I feel like he takes advantage of, which is great. But I just want to have an offensive guy that can work with the players that we have. And obviously, we have we're going to have a quarterback that can throw, hopefully, and hopefully that opens up our route tree, because I feel like it was very simple this year. A lot of times you look at the ball with Braden Locke and he's throwing behind receivers. And now keep in mind, some of the interceptions always weren't on his fault. They say if he touches your hands, you better catch it. But no, just somebody that's going to come in and get creative on the offensive side of the ball, use the players that we have to our advantage and go from there.
Let's get some more motion. Let's get some more pre-snap motion, please. Like, I think that really helps out a quarterback, just from.
Well, yeah, just being able to see if it's man or yeah. No, I completely get it. And that's the thing is, like, I think we struggled this year. I mean, even if it was pre-snap, because it wasn't like defenses were doing a ton on the defensive side of the ball, and just some of the interceptions were just uncalled for. So someone that's going to be creative.
Do you think we can run an offense around a freshman quarterback?
Why not?
I'm just asking. I think we can. I'm excited for a guy to come in and
I think with the right coordinator and the right quarterback, you can. I mean,
I've just got playing scenarios in my brain of we might be left with one guy. I think Tyler Van Dyke kind of has to come back unless he wants to transfer because he's hurt, and I don't think he can take that next step. But I don't know. Listen, I'm excited to get. Listen, I don't love the transfer portal. It's exciting to get one or two guys. It's not exciting to get 20 guys.
It's also not exciting to lose 15 guys.
It's also not exciting to have that happen. Listen, I think it's going to happen in this day and age. We have to be prepared for that to happen because we've had 2 seasons that have not been successful so far. Yeah. Right. So you're going to see guys leave. We haven't built that wall yet that says these dudes are staying. Look at Michigan last year. Not one guy left. They knew they were going to win the national championship. They trained for it. They had the coaching. Everyone stayed. They didn't have a transfer. That is wild. I think for a new coach, it's very difficult. I'm very interested to see what happens moving forward. If Fickell keeps saying, I want to build a culture and keeps getting 20 guys in the transfer portal, how many times as a fan, can we accept that?
Yeah, I agree. And to really go back to your question as far as a freshman at quarterback, if we have a guy that can read a defense, because there's a jump, but it's not the same jump from college to the NFL as far as reading defenses and how they disguise defenses. If we have a guy that can come in here that I've seen from Carter, even Mabry, that could spread the ball, read a defense, I think we're good. Again, let's not overcomplicate it. Again, I think Saturday, Braden Locke, like he looked really good. He threw some really good balls. So just anybody that's going to come in here and be able to read the defense is going to be huge for us. So and if that's Carter Smith, absolutely. He runs that spread offense. He can get the ball. He has a very powerful arm. He's fast. But if we have someone that could really have that pocket presence and can get out and scramble, I think that'd be huge as well.
Travis, big week. Tell us what the week was for you every year going into the Minnesota game. Tell us how was it ramped up? Like, give us that vision from your perspective.
Yeah, Minnesota was always one of those must-win games. I got super lucky my freshman year. That was when Jonathan Casillas blocked the punt, and it just means something more. That axe is obviously something that's been important to this university for forever. And not only is it the axe game, but I mean this is for a bowl game. And I thought that where we were at, we could have capitalized on these last two games. Unfortunately, it didn't work in our favor on Saturday. But it just in general, just the I think when it comes down to all of the trophy games, this is the most important. And actually, my cousin is Darius Taylor, so it means a little more for me as well. So it's going to be a huge week. It's much more than just the battle for the axe. This is a battle to really get into a bowl game, and if anyone is going to want to spoil that, I can guarantee you it's PJ Fleck.
100%. That's all that guy wants to do this week.
Exactly,
is spoil our good time.
It's not about the axe. It's not about the axe game for them. It's a bowl. It's a bowl for us, and if they can be the one to spoil that, they would take that any chance they have.
What, 22 years, 23 years,
22 years,
22 years. Would be to me, we say it all year, like this is a must win. I think for the program to not implode completely, but to not have a lot of naysayers step up and that voice get louder, I think we got to win. I think
also
losing
extra practices.
Yeah, I think the extra practices are important. Totally. That's obviously important, but to me, it is if we don't get into, first off, when we win this game, people are not happy, but they're not mad. I think we're happy. People are going to go to the bowl. They're going to be like, we made it to a bowl 23 years in a row. Yeah, we're going to turn it around next year. I think the level of whatever that word is, the level of animosity is lower. If we lose, no bowl game, I think you have a lot of people taking a magnifying glass to everything about the Badgers program. I think you're going to see too much on social media. You're going to see too much in the press. And it's not going to be good. I mean, it's going to be really negative. Travis, what are your thoughts? And it, like outside of winning, how can you even get through something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really get through. I mean, you gotta win this Saturday. I mean, this is much bigger than the guys on the field. This is the tradition, the history, the alumni, our fan base. This has got to be a must win, and it's got to just mean that much more. Obviously, you look at when you talk about the 15 practices, but that's always great. But just guys looking to see where they're going to go after this game, where the bowl game is going to be, and planning the vacation. And I think the biggest thing is the fact that it's almost sad that we're having this conversation, because I think when we brought in Fickell, it was at expectations. Like it wasn't getting to a bowl game. It was talking about winning a Big Ten championship. Like that's where we need to be. And unfortunately, we're not there right now. And it's tough. It's tough for Badger fans. So this Saturday is extremely big. It's bigger than any other game, any other, I would say, axe game that we've had in the past. So these guys better bring it. So
Travis, I have one last question for me. How much fun are bowl games to go to, no matter where they are?
Yeah, they're great. Man, I can only imagine what the guys get now for their gifts. And I think we got like headphones one year, and I thought I was the coolest guy.
We got an iPod, the first iPod.
Exactly. Yeah. thing was
Big
about
brick.
this big. Yep.
And you could throw it against the wall and it wouldn't break.
No, it's awesome. I mean, it's going out and enjoying football, but it's just a different feeling. You know what I mean? And just preparing for those games and obviously landing where we're ever going to land. It might be the Butter Biscuit Bowl or whatever the call to action is. But I think it's just extra times with the guys, being able to go out, have some fun in the sun, but really look forward to bringing home a victory, another victory to help this season.
All right. Well, I think that is the perfect place for us to end it here today on Monday Morning Fullback on Believe in Badgers with Travis Beckum. Travis, thank you so much again for joining us here today on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. We'll be back again later this week. But until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin, please.
Yeah, exactly.